Alright guys, it's Nassim here. Now, after using the iPhone SE3 for about 3 months now, the one thing that kept coming to my mind after using it on a day-to-day basis was this simple statement that I think explains the iPhone SE pretty perfectly. And that statement is, I think that the iPhone SE3 is still the best budget iPhone that you can get in 2022.
And I say this because when you think about it, what other phone in the market can compete with this phone when it comes to actual use? Many budget phones are good, but they don't get many more years worth of updates. They don't have a top tier budget camera, and they don't have an amazing processor that is powerful and can last as long as the SE3s. And that's why I think that the SE3 wins when it comes to budget phones, because when it comes to things that really matter, you can tell that Apple actually put in some effort, all while still providing that nostalgic home button for users that still like the old school iPhone. And besides my reasonings for why I think that the SE3 is the best compact phone in 2022, I wanted to give you guys my experience with it after everyday use and show you how it still holds up after 3 months.
And now the first thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the iPhone SE3 held up after 3 months of use was the software.
And I really loved how great the iPhone SE3 was able to run iOS 15. I was even on the latest iOS 15.5 and it still ran really well. Like right here, you can see me scrolling through the OS, and throughout my extended time of using it, I was shocked that I didn't get any lags or hiccups along the way. I also really enjoy how well everything was able to fit into that small screen. Like whenever I'll use a bigger phone like the 13 Pro Max, some apps weren't compatible and would get blown up, but every app was compatible with the SE3, so that was pretty nice. I also really liked that I was able to use some of the older features on my SE3, like being able to swipe up to see my control center, being able to double tap the home button to pull up tabs, and the Touch ID being integrated within my passwords was all something that made me reminisce. For me, it was like a trip to the past combined with the software of the future, and that's why I think that people who enjoyed the older iPhones will be happy with the SE3. And now the last thing that I liked about the SE3 software was that it felt like it was made for this phone. Like I wasn't missing any significant features and was overall really satisfied with the experience.
And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the iPhone SE3 held up after 3 months of use was the display.
Now the reason that I like the display on the SE3 was because even though it was smaller compared to other phones, I still think that in terms of resolution and quality, it held its own weight and left me pretty satisfied. The colors were vibrant, the sharpness was good, and the whole picture didn't compare to the low budget specs, but that's where my likes about the display come to an end. Now the first problem that I had with the display was that it wasn't that bright. Like whenever I would try to go outside and look at my phone, it was really hard for me to see even with the brightness all the way up. And that's where the cheapness started to show. I also really didn't like the fact that the screen didn't have a 90Hz refresh rate like on a lot of other budget phones. Like, don't get me wrong, Apple makes pretty good 60Hz displays, but I feel like the standard refresh rate for a phone now is 90, and the fact that this is 60 makes it seem more outdated. And now the last thing that I really liked about the display on the SE3 was the fact that Apple still decided to include those huge bezels even after 3 months. It was kind of hard to adjust, but if you're someone who does like the older iPhone look, then this won't be much of a problem. And even though it won't be a problem for most people, it kind of was for me. And right here, you can see that I'm watching a video and the bezels are so huge that there will be times where I do get distracted looking at my reflection, and that was a huge problem for me. But besides that, I wanted to watch a video and play a game to give you guys an idea of what the display really looks like.
Terrific play by Curry, but a well-timed cut by Wiggins. White on Curry with 10 on the shot clock. Hayden sprints into the screen, deep three. Tipped up by Wiggins, got it. Good relentless rebounding by Andrew Wiggins. Battling, had it knocked loose, and Smart back the other way. Celtics with numbers. 5-on-4, Wiggins behind the play. Brown.
And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the iPhone SE3 held up after 3 months of use was the battery.
Now, one thing that I liked about the SE3's battery was that if it wasn't using Google Maps or playing games, I could be able to make this phone last till the end of the day. I'll be doing things like watching YouTube, listening to music, talking, etc. And if you're doing just those things, then it will last you for most of your day. But again, when I will use power heavy apps like maps, I will have 3 hours of on-screen time and my phone will last me till 4 p.m, which really wasn't good at all. So I will personally say that if you're someone who will be using power heavy apps, then you should always keep your car, regular or portable charge on you so that your phone won't die unexpectedly.
And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the iPhone SE3 held up after 3 months of use was the power.
And if you guys didn't know, the iPhone SE3 has an A15 Bionic chip that is the same exact chip that you can find within the latest iPhones, starting from the iPhone 13 mini all the way to the 13 Pro Max. And if I'm being honest, I will say that the power held up really well. Like right here, you can see me playing power heavy games and there were no hiccups whatsoever. And there were even times where I was on my phone while playing and again the phone didn't freeze or slow down on me. And the processor is what really made this phone feel fresh. Everything else in the SE3 is pretty old yet vintage, but the power makes this phone feel much faster and smoother. I also really like that whenever I was using power heavy apps, my phone would get hot, but not to the point where I should be concerned like on a lot of other budget phones. The back would get hot to the point where I couldn't even hold it anymore. And if you're someone who is interested in buying the iPhone SE3, then one benefit is that it will last much longer than any other budget phone. Not only because of its processor, but also because it's able to update for the next 5 to 6 years.
And now the final thing that I want to look at when it came to how the iPhone SE3 held up after 3 months of use was the cameras.
Now the camera on the iPhone SE3 was a bit surprising to me when it came to quality and light, because when you look at it on the outside, it looks as outdated as any other iPhone. But when we look at these daytime outside photos, we can see that this is where the camera was able to shine. My selfies were surprisingly good, the accuracy was on point, the resolution was mildly sharp, and when we look at the inside daytime photos, we can see that the camera again was able to shine with good lighting. The sharpness wasn't always there, but was still acceptable. My skin tone looked great, and objects look really good. And now when it came to video quality, I will say that this is the best budget video camera that you're going to get in the market. Every video I took was good, especially when the lighting was right. And to show you guys what I mean, here's a sample video.
Bro.
So here's the final question. Should you buy the iPhone SE3 in 2022? I would say yes, because when compared to every other budget phone in the market, it outperforms and will last you much longer, so you'll get your money's worth.
And there it is, my review on the iPhone SE3 after 3 months of use. Now, let me know down in the comments, would you guys still get the SE3 over any budget phone in the market? Let me know.
And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I'd like to say thank you for sticking around. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.